Welcome to the Trill NBA Show. I'm your host, Felicia Ann Rose Enuha, aka the Trillest NBA you will ever know. And I'm here to help you survive and thrive in corporate America by giving you the truth and being as real as only I can be. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Guess what? Today is our last episode of the year, and it is the last workplace protocols, the shit you need to know for the workplace. So, first of all, I want to say to everyone listening to this show that I am forever grateful for you, for hanging in here with me and my shenanigans, allowing me to share what's been placed on my heart to share with the world through this podcast. I really appreciate you guys rocking with my black ass self, because I needed to create a space in the world where I could just exist as I want to exist, how I want to exist, without being worried about what anybody thinks. Like, honestly, I want millions of people to listen to this podcast, but if no one listens to this podcast, that's okay too, because this truly was a outlet for me. This is my art and the way that I deliver content. So thank you for rocking with me. Thank you for listening with me. If you find this valuable, please share with your friends, your family, and hopefully I am doing my little part to make the world a little bit better and easier to exist in. Now, with that said, the thing that I want to talk about today on this last episode is communication. Here's the deal. I'm gonna tell y'all a little story first and where this came from. So the other day I was talking to my little cousin, and I call him little cousin, but he's a grown ass person. At this point, he's like about to be 24 years old, which is crazy. Well, he is in corporate America. He is in his first job outside of getting his bachelor's degree, and he's doing pretty well. But I recognize, for as smart as he is, there are just going to be the growing pains of learning how to operate, how to carry yourself, how to show up, and how to communicate, which all of that is under the umbrella of communication. So your verbal and your nonverbal are ways of communicating that you have to get control of, have to understand, and you have to pay attention to. And so today what I want to talk about is, how do we communicate for impact? You see, a lot of us are communicating to get our thoughts across, to say something, not quite sure why or what or how. A lot of us are communicating without intention, and we're just trying to make it, right? We're surviving. We're in survival mode. And what that actually is in the workplace is being basic and just playing checkers. What I want to push you to do today is start playing chess. What does that mean, Felicia? Well, first we have to level set a couple of things. First, we have to understand, what are the stories that we've told ourselves about work, about the workplace, about our coworkers? So when I was talking with my cousin, he had made up in his mind that he was going to ask for a raise during his end of year review with a new manager because he's in a rotational program. So he just started his second rotation and he has a new manager, and they've only been working together for maybe about a month or so. So the new manager doesn't really know him, nor does he really know the new manager. But he had his talking points that he had worked out on his own. He ain't called me, which I took offense to, but here we are. He grown. But I happened to be wondering, or something told me, like, call him. So I picked up the phone and I was like, hey, what you doing? What's going on? I need an update. I ain't heard from you. What, are you alive? You alive? Because, I just read about a young man who was at Kennesaw State and they found his body in the lake. So I was like, I need to, hear you, see you, lay eyes on you, like, what's happening? And he proceeds to, give me an update on his life, the personal, the work, everything. Because I'm invested. Like, I have put time and effort into his, career and all his stuff. So I need him to be successful. Like, I'm invested, right? So he tells me this story about how he's going to ask for this raise. And I said, no, you're not. Not. What are you thinking? You don't know this person and you're going to just ask them for money. So here's the thing you have to understand. When you're thinking, okay, I need a raise and I'm going to figure it out and I'm going to figure out my talking points and make my argument, you're not thinking through the impact of what you're about to say. You're not coming from it or thinking through it from an angle of, how is this person going to respond if I say these things to them? Now, going back to level setting the stories we tell ourselves, he had told himself a couple different stories. One, he was like, well, I need to be assertive and I need to ask for what I want, which is true. But he's also told himself all these other stories about this person that he's worked with. So I told him, I said, let's take a step back, have the meeting first. So you never want to bring up raises or money in a review, especially if you don't know for sure, like they haven't sent you ahead of time what the review is, what the talking points are, what your rating is. Like, they haven't sent any of that to you. And now you want to have this. No, don't do that. Wrong. Try again. So luckily, while we were on the phone, he actually got the write-up of his review. So he sent it to me and so we could talk about it. And I was like, so this rating you got, is this the highest rating? And he said, no. He said, it's like, he said, there's 5 ratings. And I was like, okay. And he said, this one's the 3rd one. I'm like, oh, so you're in the middle. So you've met expectations for the past year. That's what they're telling you. And now you want to go and ask for more money? Does that make sense to you? That's what I asked him. And he was like, no, ma'am. Oh, I shouldn't laugh at the young child's pain. I'm only giggling because I see myself. I'm like, oh, if I only knew then what I know now. So I told him, I said, let's have this conversation about this performance review first. Then let's come back and make a game plan so that when you do ask for the raise, it's a no-brainer. It's of course, yes, I want to help you get this money, right? Like, it's not I'm an employee asking you for money and putting you in a corner because, it's kind of an employee's market right now, and making you feel a certain kind of way and also making you create a sense of dislike and dis-ease about me as my manager, right? Like, you don't want to create that. So again, it goes back to communicating for how will what you say impact the other person. And the other story he's telling himself that I found out, so he actually recorded the conversation of his review, which I thought was awesome so I could listen to it. And so I listened to it, and it was a very short meeting. And I realized a couple of things that I want to share with you guys that is so key when we think about how we're communicating, especially with our leadership teams. So the meeting starts out, it's like 12 minutes. The meeting starts out And you gotta understand, my little cousin, he's been trained. Like, he's very buttoned up, he's very polished, but then there's a lack of sophistication because he's young. It's so cute. And so he shows up and you can tell from his tone and his voice, there's a wall up, right? And the problem what he doesn't understand is he's created this wall to protect himself. But what he's done is he's also like cemented, there's no door to the wall to let himself out to connect on a human level with his new manager. And so from the tone and the words and the verbiage of this conversation, I was able to interpret for him what the feedback he got actually meant. And where he thought his manager had told him, I want you to work autonomously. So he's thinking like, oh, I have to figure everything out on my own and I can't lean on my coworkers, blah, blah, blah. And I said, you got to understand, sometimes humans use words that they don't actually mean, because very rarely do humans communicate for impact. They're just trying to get a point across. And so when he said, I expect you to work autonomously, what he's really saying is, I expect you to be proactive in your role, and I expect you to bring things to us. And I expect you to show growth and show that you have a get up and go about you where you can actually like take ownership and just do your job. But never did he ever say, and don't come ask us shit, go figure it out. It's not exactly what he said. Yes, he does want you to figure some things out, or at least try. But then he's expecting you to come with lots of questions. And he actually told my cousin, like, you don't ask enough questions. And I was like, did you hear that part? Do you remember that part? Did that resonate for you in a certain particular way? Because to me, there was more weight in him saying that than him saying, I expect you to work autonomously. So what I did was I told my cousin to, okay, great. Now you set up one-on-one meetings with this person, and the structure, the hierarchy is weird. So this is his manager, but not like, it's weird because it's his manager. So this is the person that delivers his performance reviews, but he's not the person that like will work with him day to day. There's other people that work with him day to day, and there's a team. And so this person is a little bit higher up, but they're the people manager for the team. So the structure's kind of weird, and I get the confusion. And I told him, I said, so every week you meet with these other people, but every other week you meet with him. And you're going to be very thoughtful and very intentional about the messages that you are going to have with him every other week. And you're going to be very thoughtful and very intentional about the messages that you are going to have with him every other week. The other thing I noticed at the end of this call, here was this white man trying to connect with my cousin. And there was this awkwardness because, he would say, so I hope you're going to have a good holiday. And my cousin said, yes, thank you very much. I am. Like, I was like, that's where you were supposed to engage him and say, oh yeah, I'm doing this for my holiday. What about you? What are you going to do for your holiday? Like, there was an opportunity to build connection. And my cousin missed it because in his head, all these people were against him, and it's corporate America. So he has to just be buttoned up. And, I come here, I put my head down and do my work, right? Like, he's been taught this. And it's so detrimental because he missed the cue that this person who's only worked with him for about a month is actually trying to connect with him, but especially doesn't know how. And then when you add the dynamic of he's a young Black male, this guy's an older white man, they're in two different generational stages of life. So you add all these things that they don't have in common, and there creates this, I don't want to say the wrong thing. And actually on both parts. I said, I need you to be the adults here, and I need you to strip away this awkwardness that you're bringing, because the reason why he's responding to you in this way is because he senses the distrust. There is a quality in your tone and your voice that's not authentic because you have your wall up. And it's noticeable to me, and maybe because I can interpret things, but on a vibrational level, it's going to be noticeable to your manager. And even if he can't articulate what it is, something's clearly off. And right now he's chalking it up to the fact that you guys are new in your working relationship. But in a couple of months, he's going to start looking at you like, why is this weird? So you have to control the dynamic that you have between this other human. And I know you've told yourself all these stories, quite frankly, fairly, that, this white man is not here for your best interest. And for the most part, that's true in a certain way. But what I want us to do, I want us to start separating the insidiousness of whiteness and how the construct of whiteness shows up in different ways away from the actual people that we have to deal with. And so I need you to work to change the perspective that you have. And I want you to adopt the perspective you need to win. And that perspective must be based in the recognition of humanity first. And so we have to get to this place where we recognize we are dealing with a mere mortal, another human being that is flawed and imperfect. And we have to suspend whatever expectations that we may have of them in their role. And we have to focus on, how do I communicate with this person so that I'm getting what I need from them in this space and time at this place, the workplace. And if you do that, if you can change that, you have unlocked the whole world for yourself. Perfect. The first thing you want to do as you're working to shift your perspective is you want to stop coming at work with this thought process of troubleshooting. So a lot of us are coming to work, especially like my cousin, right? Like, okay, what's the job? What do I get done? What do you need? Let me give it to you. And that's it. That's the level of thinking. And I need you to stop doing that. Because what that does is it doesn't allow you to read the room. It doesn't allow you to see the cues. It doesn't allow you to see the human you're dealing with. And it doesn't allow you to think through how to deal with that human. You need to start paying attention. You have to pay attention to the human beings that you work with. And I know that's annoying. Trust me. It's very, very annoying. But when you pay attention to how they show up, how they communicate, the things they talk about, the things they do, you start to realize and recognize patterns in human communication. And that starts to help you craft and formulate how to talk with them, what will resonate with them in order to get them to do what you need them to do. So you are setting yourself up for success at work. Yes, it's manipulation. And it all goes back to how to win friends and influence people. Which is, I'm telling you guys, the book is a game changer, because the foundation of this text is to help you understand how to communicate with people in order to influence them, in order to win. And you got to understand, everything that you want in the workplace, which should be focused on getting paid and getting promoted, everything that you want from these places that you don't own, that your name isn't on the building, everything is in a package called likability. When people like you, they will turn a blind eye to the weaknesses you have, your humanity, right? They actually recognize that you are human, and then that's okay. And there's not this expectation that you're going to be some superhuman or some kind of miracle worker for this crapshoot of a department or, chaos of an organization or business. Like all of it, every single company is on some bullshit. Why? Because a bunch of humans work there. That's why. And in recognizing that, you can start to play chess and you can start to think through, how do I get my best possible outcome? And how do I create win-wins? Everybody loves a win-win. And when you create the win-wins at work, you will be seen as a rock star very quickly. So those are some things for you to think about when it comes to communication in the workplace and how to communicate for impact. So that's what I will leave you with for the beginning of the year. I hope you guys have a wonderful holiday, a happy new year, and we will be back with new full episodes. We'll have guests. We'll be back on our Trill NBA shit in the new year. Again, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. I love everybody. I'm so grateful for you. And I want you to stay safe and stay healthy, hydrated, drink your water, mind your business, and just work to operate out of a place of love. Not every human on earth is a minion that's trying to get you. And yes, you need to protect yourself, but when you build that wall, make a door so you can come out sometimes, especially at work. Okay, guys, if there's anything that you need in the meantime, I'm off. So I hope you're off and I hope you take time off. But you can always email me at ask@trillandba.com. I'm happy to answer, quick questions, shoot your note back. If for some reason I don't answer in about, 3 to 4 business days, please email me back, bring it to the top of my inbox. The other thing, coaching. We're going to have some new coaching packages coming out in the new year for robust, problem solving for your workplace dilemmas. I'm working on those things now over the holiday. I will have limited one-on-one coaching that opens up in January. You can go to trillandba.com/coaching and sign up for a session with me to help you troubleshoot your workplace dilemma. Understand, I work to help you figure out how to communicate to get what you need. I give you words that impact your situation. That's what my gift is. That's my sweet spot. And that's how I help you win in the workplace. So with that said, you can email me, ask@trillandba.com, or you can sign up for coaching in the new year. That's trillandba.com/coaching. And please subscribe, rate, review the podcast in your favorite podcast app. Don't forget to do that. That's important. That helps other people find us. And I'm just a sleeper agent right now as a podcast. So let the people know. Share the knowledge. Don't hoard this. Don't keep this to yourself. This is not a little secret, okay? All right. So again, guys, thank you so much. And until next year, keep it trill. The Trill NBA Show is a Fair World Corp. LLC production. Executive produced by Felicia and Rose Inuha. Sound design and editing by Chris Mann with Podshaper. Theme music is Kick Push by Ryan Little. Keep it trill every day, y'all.